Hello everyone. In this lecture, we will understand what is number range in OM and also learn how to create a custom object. So if you recall the previous lecture of personal administration, we have created a number range for personal number. That is the number range for employees. Now in this lecture we are basically talking about the number ranges for the organizational management objects, which is nothing but OM objects, and also learn how to create a custom object. We know SAP has delivered some of the standard objects like O for org unit, S for position, C for job, and many others. Now let's understand the number ranges and also how to create a custom object. Just like in PA, OM also has internal and external number assignment for objects. What is internal number assignment? Internal number assignment means SAP assigns the number to objects. So when you define the number range in the configuration, you need to indicate with the letter IN. IN should be basically indicated if you want to define that number range as internal. Similarly, there is an external number assignment, which means user can assign the number to objects, and the number range for that should be indicated by the letter EX. There is one important note here is there is no feature in OM to default the number range, meaning that in personal administration for employee number we had a feature called numkr, NUMKR, but in OM there is no such feature to default the number for an organizational object. So when you define the number range, there is a subgroup. What is the subgroup? The subgroup is maximum 4 digits. The 2 digits starting will be your planned version and the remaining 2 digits will be the object. So when I show you practically, you will basically understand very easily. Okay. Now after the number ranges, we will also learn how to create a custom object. When you create the object type, you can use the range 01 to 99, and you have to create a relationship for that custom object, and also you need to allow the relationship, meaning that whatever the custom object you have created, you need to tell the system, okay, this object can have a relationship to that object. You have to tell the system, because system will not know what are the relationships allowed between which objects. And also the most important thing, whenever you create a custom object, you also need to define which info types are allowed for that particular object, because not all the info types will be allowed for each object in OM. For example, when you talk about organizational unit, certain info types are allowed for that object. Similarly, for position, certain info types are allowed. So it doesn't mean that each object will have the same info types permitted for them. No, never. There will be only a specific set of info types permitted for each object. So when you create a custom object, keep in mind you need to define what info types are allowed for that custom object. Let us go and do the practical how to basically create the number range and also create the custom object. Let me log in. So number ranges, right? So SPRO, I'm going to configuration. I'm clicking on the IMG. Now I'm going to personal management, expand this. I'm seeing organizational management here, expanding this. Now I expand the basic settings. You see the maintain number ranges. These are the two important IMG nodes here which you need to configure. The first one is set up number assignment for all plan versions. This is really important. What is this? Let us see. If you click on this, it is basically asking you whether the number range which you are defining, is it permissible for all the plan version or is it specifically for your plan version? Meaning whichever org unit, whichever job, whatever position you are creating, should the number range be specific to your plan version or are you allowing it to all the plan version? So if I leave blank, it means it is specifically for my plan version. Whatever the plan version I am working, only this number range should be allowed to that specific plan version. But if I put X, it means that number range is permitted for all plan version, meaning the system will not look for specific plan version, but that number range it will use for all the plan versions for any object and any particular any object type, I would say. And like even if the system want to create org unit or job or position, it won't look at the plan version because we have entered X here. X means the number range is permitted for all the plan version. So now this is a basic setting you have to enter here. So let us keep it as X, meaning that this number range, whatever is there, it is permitted for all the plan versions. I would it. I go back. Now this is the maintain number ranges. Now when you click this, now this is the place where you create the number range for your objects. The first one, if you see the $, this is the number range which is provided by SAP. You should never ever delete it. Why? Because if you have not defined your own number range for any object, then the system will pick up from this number range which SAP has provided. So I clicked on this particular line and I clicked on number range maintenance, and then I want to go and see the intervals. So here if you see, there is one number range already there from 50000 to 9999, and this is indicated by internal, means system will assign the number. So the range is defined here. The current number which is currently used by the system is this number, and this range is indicated by IN, meaning the system knows this is internal, meaning the user doesn't have to enter the number for the object type. The system picks up from this number. So this was the SAP delivered number range. But if you have to create your own, then you can go to new entries and then you can create your subgroup. What is subgroup? Subgroup is something, the starting 2 digits will be your plan version. For example, our plan version, if you recall my previous lecture, ZA is the plan version. So if you put ZA and then if you put some object like org unit here, then this number range is allowed for this plan version and only this object type, which is org unit. But even if you define this number range for this subgroup, the system will again go back and pick up the $sign, because the reason behind this is the first setting told the system pick up the number range for all plan version. So system doesn't go and look for a specific plan version because you have set it for all. If you remove X, then system will look which plan version you are working and go and pick up the number range specifically you have created for your plan version. That is the difference here. Okay, so let us come back to these number ranges once I create the custom object, because I will show you how this number range behave. So let me just close this node. So I hope you understood what is the number range, what is internal, what is external, what you mean by subgroup. But I will explain you again when I create a custom object and come back here. So let us create the custom object. How to create the custom object? Expand this particular node here, and you will see here the first step is to maintain the object type. You are creating a custom object. The first step is here, click on this one, this screen will come, click on new entries. Now when you click on new entries, you can create a custom number like 95 and say this is Zenith org unit for test. And you can basically, SAP has provided some object type which is standard. You can use the one which is for the org unit. So you can search what is this org object type used for the standard object, and you can use that. So there is no issue in that. An icon name. So this is icon name which is used for org unit. So I can use that because I am creating the test org unit. So these are the standard SAP has provided. I am just using it for my custom object. So this is the custom object. The number which I am using is 95. Once you enter this, press enter. I press enter. Now I am saving it. I saved. My custom object has been created. Now I go back. Now the second important thing here is, when you define the custom object, the system will tell you, okay, just creating the custom object doesn't have any meaning. Do you want to relate it to some other object? Then you say, oh yes, I want to relate it to some other object. Then system says, okay, go and maintain relationships. I click on maintain relationships, and in this screen I want to use this relationship reports to, like, so that whatever the custom object I have created, I want to allow this relationship for my custom object. Because if you don't tell the system that whatever the custom object I have created it can have this relationship, so system will not know. So you have to highlight whatever the relationship you want to allow for your custom object. So in this list, I have highlighted this particular relationship, and I am clicking on allowed relationships. When I click on allowed relationships, this screen will come up. Now it is showing whatever that 002 is allowed for which object types it is showing. So 002 is only allowed between this, not any other object types. But we have created one more custom object, so I want to include here. So I go to new entries, I enter my custom object which is 95. I want to give a relationship like it can report to another org unit. I press enter, meaning that the 002 relationship I have allowed for my custom object, between my custom object and the standard object which is organization unit. So I basically allowed the relationship. If I don't allow, the system will not know whether my custom object is really allowed for relationship with any other object. So this is the very important step. I save it. Now I go back. I am going back. When I go back here, just go back to again the object types. The first step what we have done, we have created the custom object. The second step was we allowed the relationship between our custom object and the standard object. Now I am going back to maintain object types again. When I click on this one, I know we have created our custom object. Let us search for that object. My object type was 95. Now I can see my object type here. Now I am clicking on essential relationships. Allowed relationship was different. Essential relationship means this is really essential. So at least a relationship should exist here. So I am clicking on new trees. I am entering my custom object. Again I am saying, okay, this is allowed, this relationship between this org unit. So the previous allowed relationship and this is essential relationship. So if you see here, I have basically created an essential relationship between my custom object and other object type. Now after saving, you go back here. Now Now you have created a custom object, right? Now when you created your custom object, I want to see whether I can see my custom object in expert mode. So open another session. This is the icon to create another session. So when you open another session, just look whether you are able to see your custom object. So let it open. So it's not opening it. Okay, let me put okay, sometimes I don't know what it is. I'll just log in back again. Sometimes the system, the session gets terminated and it responds sometimes. So I'm just continuing. Okay, it got terminated, that's fine. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to SPRO again. I'm just going to the same configuration because the session got terminated. I'm going to personal management again. I'm opening organizational management. I'm opening settings. I'm opening data model enhancement and also the ranges. So this was basically the configuration side of OM. Now let me open another session here. So PP01, if you remember in one of my previous lecture in OM, I told PP01 is the transaction code for expert mode. So let me press enter here. Good. This is my plan version, right? Zenith plan version is the active plan version, and in one of my previous lecture, I have told the system this is the current and active plan version. Now I want to see whether my object type is listed here or not. My object type was something like Zenith or Unique for test. Perfect, I am able to see. But I am unable to see any info type for this object type. Why? Because I did not set the system. I have not instructed the system like what info types are allowed for my object type. So I have to go back again here. I have to go here. If you see info type, I click on the info type here, and these are the info types. These are the info types. Now I have to basically tell the system, okay, this particular info type is allowed for my object. So what I'm going to do, I'm highlighting this info type, clicking on this info types per object type here. This screen will come, and then I have to go and click new entries, then enter my particular object type 95. I'm saying okay, 1000 is the info type which is allowed for object. So see, 95 object is what we created and info type 1000 is allowed. I am saving it now. Once I save it, now go back to your screen and again log in back, like go back and again enter PP01, enter here. Now you see for this particular object, the info type object which is 100 is showing. Why? Because I have allowed this info type for my object here. If you see here, I have allowed it. Now this ends how to create a custom object and also how to allow the info types. Similarly, you can also allow other info types like relationship. Again click on this. Again you can go new entries 95 1001. This is basically how to assign the info types. So if you go back to the same screen of PP01, again go back and then PP01, you will see now two different info types which are allowed for this particular object type. So this ends our configuration of how to create the custom object. Now I was talking about the number range. Now if you see the configuration, the number range what we have allowed here is basically, if you see here, set up number assignment for all plan versions. If you click on this here, you have allowed whatever the number range SAP has given for all plan versions. So system doesn't look for your plan version. So let us see here. I am going to create an object. So what I'm doing, I'm going and creating a particular object info type 1000. I'm clicking on create here and I'm telling like Zenith test. I'm just giving a name, Zenith test. Pressing enter, and now save it. When you save this, the next info type is the essential relationship. If you remember the configuration, I have created an essential relationship. So this relationship I have created. Now I am basically assigning to one of the OR unit. You can basically search from here. I am assigning this Zenith OR unit, whatever I have created now, to this particular OR unit. I press enter. Now it is showing the one which I created now is related to this OR unit. I am saving it. Now when I save it, this number is coming. What is this number? 5001473. Where is it coming from? If I go back here, since I have allowed this number range for all plan version, so it is not looking at your plan version. It is just looking for this number range. Go back here, this number range, because you have told the system that it is allowed for all the plan version. So if you go to the intervals, you see here, this is the number range which it is picking up. So that is the reason why it is basically looking at that number range. Now you might be thinking, hey, here it is showing 5001438 how come it is showing 5001473? This 5001473 is for the OR unit. Might be this particular number is allotted for position, because this number range is being used for position, for OR unit job, because we have not defined in the system that this number range should be only used for a specific object. No, this number range is being used for any object, any plan version. So that is the reason why this number, current number, might be assigned to the position. So right now it is picking from there. But if you want to tell the system, no, I don't want the number range for all plan version, I just want it for my specific plan version, then the first thing you have to do is go back here, go back and click the first node. Remove this X, because you don't want to permit the number range for all plan version. You want to permit the number range for only your plan version. Now save it. I am just saving it. Once you save it, go back. Now click on the maintain number ranges. When you click on the maintain number ranges, this screen will come up. Now go to new entries, give your plan version and also the object type which you have created. My plan version is ZA and my object type is 95. Now I press enter. It has created a subgroup. What I have to do? First I have to save it. Once I save it, this screen will come. Now click on this pencil icon. I clicked on this. Now this screen is coming up. When this screen comes up, go and click the interval. Then when you click on the interval, this screen comes up. Now if you want to define the internal number, like you want the system to assign the numbers for your object type 95, then you say IN. IN means this is the indication for the system that this number range is internal. So I am creating a number range like 8000 till 00008888. So this number range I have created for my plan version and also for my customer object. So I am saving. Now once I save, now I am done. Let me go back to PP01 again and again create another object. Like I'm creating an object again, info type 1000. This object is info type 1000. I am highlighting this info type and I am creating it. When I create, put some text like test 1 2 3. Press enter, save it. And this essential relationship, which is info type 1001, comes up automatically. Now give your any OR unit which you want to relate to. I am just relating this particular OR unit to this OR unit. Once I relate it, I click on save. Now when I save, now do you see here the number is coming 8000. Why? Now the number is getting picked up from your number range what you have defined, because you told the system that it should only look for your plan version. Now system knows Zenith plan version is the active plan version, so it is searching for that plan version ZA and also looking for this particular object type which is nothing but 95. The text here is Zenith OR unit for test, but the actual number is 95. So system knows for this plan version and this object type, this is the number range which it should pick up. So this is very easy. Just follow the steps what I have shown. You will really enjoy creating custom objects, creating the number ranges. This is really helpful for you even in the real-time projects. Hope you enjoyed the class. Thank you.